Chapter 436. Your Lord Jiu? Serena asked. Lord Jiu said respectfully, Your Highness, just call me Little Jiu. Serene remained silent at the side. She thought to herself, so this is how it feels to be conquered by a powerful man. I can't wait to offer my most precious and pure blood. Serena maintained the demeanor of a princess and said calmly, What's the matter? My master knows that Her Royal Highness has been a little troubled recently, so he specially sent me over to deliver a small gift. Lord Jiu said with a smile. He didn't have many other things, but he had many masters. Now that he had lost contact with one, there was still one left. Lord Jiu took out an exquisite little box. When he opened it, the whole room was immersed in a blue ocean. Serena looked at the piece in the box and exclaimed, This is Neptune's spear. When Lord Jiu saw it for the first time, he was also shocked. According to his master, this was an ancient godly item. Even though it was only a part of it, if he could find the rest, he would be able to obtain a true ancient godly item. It was said that this great desolate era godly equipment had the power to split the heavens and split the earth. Master actually gave it to someone else, and it was only because he wanted to flirt with them. Your Highness, this is indeed the Neptune's spear. If we can find the other 3 pieces, then we won't have to fear anyone. Jiu Yi explained. Do you have any requests? Serena asked in a deep voice. Actually, my master doesn't have any requests. He just wants to have a meal with Your Highness. He hopes that Your Highness will do him the honor. The 2 sisters sneered inwardly. Wanting to use a quarter of the sea god's spear to exchange for their purest blood. Truly delusional. Lord Jiu, please go back. This Neptune's spear is very precious. You must take good care of it. Just as his master had guessed, things wouldn't go so smoothly. After putting away the items, Lord Jiu smiled and said, This is my name card. If Your Highnesses change your mind, you can call this number at any time. My 8848 titanium phone is on 24/7, so don't worry. Serena waved her hand. Lord Jiu bowed and retreated. He sighed in his heart. Why bother? If you push my master too far, I won't give you any face then. When Lord Jiu walked out, the 2 sisters jumped up. Elvie Liang, who was deep in thought, was startled. She immediately smelled a delicate fragrance beside her. What are you doing? Don't mess around, I'm an upright and plain-spoken man. Elvie Liang hugged the quilt and looked at the 2 sisters vigilantly. Big sister Serena said faintly, Elvie Liang, you also heard it just now, a lot of people have their eyes on us. Sooner or later we will be. If that's the case, I might as well give that purest blood to you. Elvie Shu, I'm begging you. Please accept my and my sister's purest blood. At the side, Celine begged bitterly. Rather than being snatched away by someone else, she might as well give it to the person she liked. At least she wouldn't regret it. *CK, who begs people like you guys? I'm really drunk. Putting away her frivolous expression, Elvie Liang said seriously, It's your own blood, keep it safe. But don't worry, I will protect you. The 2 sisters were stunned. Protection? Ever since the blood tribe was hunted down, only the 2 of them were left and they had no protection at all. They lived in fear every day, but today they were actually saved by a man who wanted to offer the purest blood to him. Not only did he not want it, he even said that he wanted to protect himself. God, there is actually such a good man in this world. Fortunately, I met him. I'm so lucky. The 2 sisters lightly leaned on Elvie Liang's side. Serena said tenderly, Elvie Liang, if you want it, we can give it to you anytime. My God, as long as you 2 don't suck my blood, I can do anything. Why are you 2 grabbing onto my hands? I am not such a shallow man. Wow, my skin is so smooth. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I'll be leaving first, see you tomorrow. After finished speaking, Elvie Liang disappeared from the bed. The 2 sisters laughed because Elvie Liang said that he would see you tomorrow. This is a man with a sense of justice, and for him to still be able to hold on even when we are tempting him like this, it can be seen that he is not a fickle man. Meanwhile, at the bedroom on the 2nd floor of Leisure Bar, the battlefield that was filled with smoke had just calmed down. Yi Hua lightly caressed his wife's body. He was very engrossed in the feeling. It was as if he was poisoned. However, this caused Donghuang Baiji to feel extremely bitter. Ali's birthday is coming up, Yi Hua said lightly. Donghuang Baiji let out a heavy nasal sound. I should be able to receive a large amount of money as a gift. Yi Hua smiled. Those subordinates of mine will definitely give me something of great value. Donghuang Baiji once again let out a nasal sound. It wasn't that she didn't want to speak, it was just that she truly didn't have any strength left. It was as if her soul had already floated away. Yi Hua said faintly, Your Majesty, looking at your expression, it seems like you are not satisfied with me. If that's the case, I will let you be satisfied again. No, before Empress Baiji could stop him, this shameless guy had already started another round of conquest. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were at the side, had already gone to the office to sleep. The morning sunlight shone through the window, and Yi Hua opened his eyes. Lowering his head, he looked at the beautiful woman who was in his embrace with a pitiful look on her face. If he had used this method earlier, such a mess wouldn't have happened. Don't, the sleeping empress shouted out sweetly, almost causing Yi Hua to become impulsive again. However, the sleeping Donghuang Baiji is so alluring. Just by looking at her, I can't help but want to make a move on her. I'll let her off today. It's been hard on her these past 2 days. After covering himself with the blanket, Yi Hua got up and took a bath, then went out of the house to buy breakfast for his wife. As long as you follow this sovereign's will, this sovereign will pamper you to the heavens. Just when Yi Hua stepped out of leisure bar, he received Wei Chang's contact. Your Honor, subordinate has something to report to you. Speak. Last night, LV Liang received 2 pieces of valuable information. The first piece of information is that the self-proclaimed demon king in Europe, Lucifer, wants to capture the Sisters of Seven Bar for their purest blood. The second piece of information is that Lord Jiao has a master behind him, and he wants to have a meal with the sisters by exchanging a part of a primeval godly item. Yi Hua responded. These are all small matters. Buying breakfast for Baiji is a big matter. Am I being too biased recently? I should go and comfort Xianxia properly in a few days' time to prevent her from complaining. After all, I have to share the reign and do equally. Your Honor? What do you think we should do about this matter? Wei Chang asked. There is no need to ask me about this kind of small matter. After finished speaking, Wei Chang cut off the contact. Meanwhile, Wei Chang passed on His Honor's latest command to LV Liang. His Honor said, do as you see fit. After LV Liang received His Honor's command, LV Liang immediately felt pressured. This time, I have to perform well and hope to receive His Honor's praise. Chapter 437. Yi Hua arrived at the entrance of the alley and saw that the auntie was currently making Chinese jianbing. Should I go and show off in front of the auntie? These few days when I came over to buy Chinese crepes, I was ridiculed by this auntie to the point that I couldn't take it anymore. In the entire world, I, the supreme overlord, admire this auntie. 4 pancakes with eggs and ham sausages. The middle-aged woman looked back and smiled. Handsome, you look good today. Is your wife back? How would they dare to disobey me? I'll teach them a lesson anytime. As a supreme overlord, he is actually showing off in front of an auntie. Sigh. The aunt smiled but did not say anything. This caused Yi Hua to feel very unhappy. Aren't you very talkative? Don't look down on women. They spoil you because they love you. Spoil me? He chuckled. You are wrong, I am the one who is spoiling them. Yi Hua said in disdain. The auntie smiled once again and did not say anything. This caused Yi Hua to be very speechless. This auntie is truly awesome, to actually be acting so mysterious in front of me. A moment later, the middle-aged woman handed over 4 pancakes. Are you still going to owe me for today? Yi Hua. This sentence almost caused Yi Hua to bleed. A formidable enemy isn't those people who possess absolute strength, but this aunt who is selling Chinese jianbing fruit pancakes in front of me. Do you think that I won't return what I owe you? Yi Hua said gravely, then turned around and walked towards leisure bar. But listening to this auntie's nagging feels pretty good. Are they spoiling me? He took out a jianbing and took a bite. It was especially fragrant today. In actuality, what the auntie said was very reasonable. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji were indeed spoiling Yi Hua. Take Donghuang Baiji for example. For the past 2 days, Donghuang Baiji had not even gotten out of the bed and was doing her best to satisfy Yi Hua's needs. He took 2 pancakes and gave them to his sister-in-law and Yi Zizi. Today was the weekend, so Yi Zizi was off. Walking into the bedroom and looking at the Empress's spotlessly white shoulders that were exposed to the air, Yi Hua's lower abdomen once again emitted a ball of raging fire. Why is this Donghuang Baiji so captivated by me? Holding onto the crepe, Yi Hua brought it to Donghuang Baiji's mouth. Right now, the cold and arrogant Empress was extremely adorable. If not for Donghuang Baiji's tired state, Yi Hua would have definitely pounced onto the Empress and enjoyed her body. The Empress opened her beautiful eyes slightly, and looked at her husband, who was very close to her. A gentle smile appeared on her face and she said, Is it the fruit jianbing from the alley? Yes. Hang, when the Empress started acting coquettishly, even Yi Hua was a bit unable to endure it. Sitting on the side of the bed, Yi Hua said faintly, Do you know how enchanting you look like right now? Seeing the eager look in her husband's eyes, the Empress instantly shrank back and said, "Let me rest for a day, okay? I originally wanted to let you rest for 2 days. I didn't expect that your Majesty would only need 1 day. It can be seen that you are very dissatisfied with your husband." Annoying, Donghuang Baiji smacked onto Yihua petulantly. That bashful look of hers was truly indescribable with words. For this woman to actually be this beautiful, I really have to sigh in admiration. After eating the love-filled Chinese jianbing that her husband bought for her, Donghuang Baiji rubbed onto her tummy. "Yihua, do you think that I am already pregnant? If we put in a bit more effort we should be able to." "Yihua, you have changed." Yihua laughed lightly. "Have I become bigger?" Donghuang Baiji was very speechless, then said tenderly, "My face changed. If I have such a wife and my face still doesn't change, it would really be a waste of a heavenly gift. You have also become a flirtatious person." Donghuang Baiji added another sentence. Although her husband has changed, he has become even more perfect. That kind of ice-cold Yihua is not what I want. Yihua smiled. "Indeed, after meeting them I have changed a lot. Let's hope that this is a good start. Where is Ali's birthday?" Donghuang Baiji leaned onto her husband's arm and asked. Yihua lightly caressed onto Donghuang Baiji's soft body and said faintly, "Our family's birthday." There was nothing more important than being together as a family. This was something that Yihua had learned. Donghuang Baiji suddenly sealed onto Yihua's lips and said with a gentle gaze, "Yihua, love me properly. Baiji, you are truly getting more and more daring." Yihua laughed lightly. He decided to properly dote on the Empress. To actually dare to openly provoke me. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were in the room beside Yihua, were wearing earphones to block out the noise. At night, Yihua walked out of the bedroom and stretched his body. "This feels great." Coming to the office, Yihua took out a stick of cigarette. "Where should I bring my daughter to have fun on her birthday? Go abroad to have fun? That doesn't seem interesting. Go to another planet to have fun? Admire the beauty of a foreign country? This idea is not bad." "Daddy," Yihua, who was currently thinking, didn't notice that Xianxia and Dong Huangli had appeared. Yihua turned around and carried his daughter into his embrace, then fiercely kissed onto her chubby face. The latter also gave her father a big kiss. "Daddy, Ali misses you so much." Dong Huangli held onto her father's chest and said sweetly. "Daddy misses Ali too." Lightly caressing onto his daughter's hair, Yihua felt that his life right now was perfect. "My wife, my child, and my subordinates, I didn't die in vain." After the father and daughter pair cuddled together for a while, Yihua said with a smile, "Ali, quickly go and take a look at mommy and accompany mommy to sleep. And then Ali won't disturb daddy and mommy Qing anymore." The little fellow was rather sensible and immediately ran out of the office. Only Yihua and Xianxia were left in the office. Looking at Xianxia's bulging stomach, Yihua stretched out his hand and lightly caressed onto Xianxia's stomach, then said in a low voice, "Xianxia, thank you." Hearing her husband's heartfelt words, Xianxia's beautiful eyes immediately turned red as she said with a smile, "We are already husband and wife, there is no need to thank me. Do you still hate me?" Lightly hugging onto Xianxia, Yihua asked faintly. Xianxia hugged onto her husband's strong body and said tenderly, "Yihua, I want to apologize to you. This foolish woman, is she trying to move me to death? Seems like I have no choice but to properly dote on you tonight." "Forget it, it is all in the past," Yihua said lightly. Xianxia muttered, "Yihua, you have your own standpoint, I have my own way of thinking. However, I have forgotten that you are my husband, I should support you unconditionally, and not help others to criticize you." Xianxia's eyes lit up. Yihua was a bit surprised. "I didn't expect that Xianxia would have such a realization. This is a good thing, a happy thing. Since you have given me a way out of this embarrassing situation, I have to coax you and not let you suffer any grievances. I am also at fault, I shouldn't have shouted at you like that, especially when you are pregnant." Hearing what her husband said, Xianxia was moved, and tears immediately flowed out of her eyes. When she was pregnant, her husband wasn't by her side, and Xianxia could be said to have experienced it. I really don't know how Donghuang Baiji managed to endure it back then. Chapter 438. Yihua carried Xianxia up. "Such an enchanting wife, how can I leave her alone?" "Ah, Yihua, what are you doing?" Xianxia cried out in surprise and her face immediately turned red. Yihua said indifferently, "Tonight you don't have any more excuses, right?" Xianxia knew that this would happen. "I can still find an excuse for my early pregnancy, but now that it is over, This fellow will definitely not be able to hold himself back anymore. Wait a minute, I want to ask you a question, answer me honestly, if not, Yihua carefully pressed his wife down onto his body and lightly moved aside her hair. These two women's beauty is completely different. Xianxia belongs to the delicate type, while Donghuang Baiji's expression carries a faint sense of arrogance. This is a kind of visual enjoyment. If not, what will you do? Yihua asked indifferently. If not, I will ignore you, Xianxia said with a red face. Just that, this kind of threat had a more coquettish feel to it. Go ahead and ask. Is Zhu Tian one of your people? This question is very thorny, should I admit it or not? However, looking at Xianxia's appearance, she should have guessed it, just that she didn't have any evidence. However, now that we have reconciled, it doesn't matter if I say it out, we are all family. Yihua nodded his head. Actually, before Xianxia could finish speaking, Yihua already kissed her. The latter struggled for a bit, then became obedient. Little fellow, I can't deal with you, just immerse yourself in my kiss. Looking at his wife's beautiful face, Yihua said indifferently, there are a lot of ugly things in the world. In actuality, I don't want you two to see them, just like Dongfang Yuer whom Zhu Tian met. Her family was framed and destroyed, and I only asked my subordinates to help the weak and let the wrong souls rest in peace. There is really nothing wrong with what he said. Right now, he doesn't even blink when speaking lies. However, what he said seems to be the truth. I only hope that you two can enjoy the happiness in this world, and leave the dirty work to me. Xianxia didn't expect that Yihua would think like this, and she was very touched. She felt ashamed for her actions. Yihua, so it was my ignorance, okay? Xianxia felt that if Yihua didn't forgive her, she wouldn't be able to feel at ease for the rest of her life. The husband only wanted to give me a good environment, and yet, I didn't understand what he meant. As a wife, this was a very foolish behavior. Alright, I forgive you. Thank you, Yihua. A trace of an evil smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. I prefer that you use your body to thank me. Then can you be gentler, don't be like last time. Upon thinking about that night, Xianxia's face became scarlet red. That night was truly an unforgettable night. Of course, Yihua wouldn't act recklessly. However, there was no need for Yihua to worry about the child. My bloodline is very tough, and no matter what I do to the child, nothing bad will happen to the child. However, he also had to take care of his wife's feelings. Alright, I promise you. Hearing what her husband said, Xianxia's face became red, and she slowly closed her beautiful eyes. Looking at Xianxia's appearance, Yihua couldn't help but want to take back the words that he had said just now. This is simply waiting for me to pamper her. He gently took off his wife's clothes and gently caressed her. A beautiful melody came out from Xianxia's vocal cords. This was simply the most beautiful sound in the world. After one round, Xianxia's face was completely red as she laid on her husband's chest. Feels so comfortable. I will let you off today after you give birth to the child. Xianxia sweetly rolled her eyes at her husband, however, she still said, got it. As expected of my woman, she is becoming more and more sensible. Where are we going to celebrate Ali's birthday? Xianxia asked curiously. Yihua thought for a while, then said faintly, to be honest, our family of four has never seriously gone out to play before. How about we use Ali's birthday this time to go out and relax ourselves? Xianxia felt that her husband's suggestion was pretty good and said tenderly, then, where are we going to relax ourselves? I haven't thought about it yet, but it is definitely going to be a place that is different from the masses. And we will listen to your arrangements then. Xianxia said tenderly. That's right, the aunt at the alley entrance owes you 200 plus RMB, you can go and pay her back tomorrow morning. After hearing what Yihua said, Xianxia was speechless. Without me by your side, your life sure is poor and dejected. If you don't have money, tell me. Yihua said in disdain, do I look like the kind of man who asks for money from a woman? Alright, you are the most formidable. In actuality, Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji were the women who doted on their husband the most. Yihua felt that after this time, the two of them wouldn't dare to mess around anymore. Because, no matter how bad the things that I, the Supreme Overlord, did, it was all because of you two. You two are the real culprits, and I, the Supreme Overlord at most, can only be considered as an accomplice. Xianxia. Let's do it one more time. Don't, be obedient, nothing will happen. You go and look for Baiji. She is already at her limit. Then this will be the last time. Alright, this will be the last time tonight. Qin Yutong and Yi Zizi felt that it is about time for us to move out of the house, or to make a layer of super soundproofing. October 16th was little Ali's birthday. Today the little fellow was dressed up like a little princess and she was very happy. On this night, leisure bar was closed. It seems like there weren't any customers that came. Yihua's subordinates were all present to celebrate the little overlord's birthday. Just how big of a scene was this? Dong Huangli was about to be praised to the heavens by everyone, and the smile on her face had never stopped. Right now Yihua came to the office and opened the gifts that his subordinates gave him. However, when he looked at the gifts that his subordinates gave him, he was simply too stingy. Wei Chang sent over a giant panda. If it was a real giant panda then it would be fine, but this was a furry toy. Lai Gu sent over a set of dolls, the kind that can wear clothes. Does my child still want to play with such childish things? Absolute Heaven received quite a lot of benefits this time, and he actually sent over a learning machine. Yi Zizi's gift was even simpler. The princess dress that Ali was currently wearing was bought by her. However, when Yihua heard that the princess dress was bought by Yi Zizi through scrimping, Yihua felt rather gratified. There are even toy guns and remote-controlled cars. How can a girl play with such things? To think that you all can even think of such things. Not a single one of them gave me money. If I were to go and host a banquet, I would definitely make a huge loss. What happened to the treasures that you all agreed on? Do you all really need me to speak for you all to understand? In the future, if you all were to give birth to a child and celebrate your birthday, I would immediately come over and not give you anything. You all are too stingy. Downstairs. Lai Gu said with a smile. His honor will definitely like this time. In the past, I always gave you some treasures, and I reckon that his honor is already annoyed by it. That's right, the gifts that I gave you this time are my sincerity. His honor should definitely be very happy. Wei Chang said with a smile. Meanwhile, Absolute Heaven walked to the front of the two madams and said respectfully, Lady Boss, please forgive me for what happened that day. Chapter 439. Dong Huang Baiji had also thought about it. If it was really her father who judged the case wrongly as his daughter, she would definitely wash away the injustice done to the Dongfang family. Those who were involved in the case would definitely not be let off easily. Zhu Tianyu is also my junior sister. Treat her well, Xianxia said with a slight smile as she looked at Dongfang Yu who was bashful after hearing Zhu Tian's words. Zhu Tian replied respectfully, Lady Boss, rest assured. This subordinate will definitely take good care of you and Yan Xen. On the other hand, Dongfang Yuan and Guan Yanxin who were standing behind Zhu Tian had their heads lowered. The so-called care that Professor Zhu Tian gave them was simply unimaginable. That's good then, Xianxia said with a gentle smile. Xianxia had the aura of a respected madam. Dong Huang Baiji who was at the side was the same as well. All of the subordinates felt that this was the attitude that his honor's wife should have, and this was the attitude that his honor's wife should have. Wei Chang, look at that Dongfang Yu. Lai Gu walked to Wei Chang's side and said in a low voice. Wei Chang said, Zhu Tian's luck with women isn't bad. In the past he said that he wasn't interested in women, but now he brought two. There is no such thing as a cat that steals fish in this world. As long as you experience the beauty of a woman, you will be unable to extricate yourself. Wei Chang fell into deep thought after hearing this. He looked at the alluring Tang Bingyao at the side. When would he be able to push her down? It felt like it would take forever. As a single dog, LV Shu stood at the side with a glass of wine in her hand and sighed. Everyone has a wife, either one or two, and the one who has the most is Lai Gu. He has 3 superstar wives. I am so envious of them. Furthermore, that Dongfang Yu is really good. I don't even know what to say about this kind of feeling. Big Boss Absolute Heaven is really lucky. He was extremely unlucky to be targeted by 2 vampires who wanted to suck his blood all the time. It was really annoying. Yihua, who was upstairs, lit up a stick of cigarette, then lightly flicked it. A 3-dimensional version of the galaxy appeared in front of Yihua. Following the movements of Yihua's hands, the galaxy rotated, enlarged or shrunk. The entire Milky Way galaxy had about 150 to 400 billion stars, and the solar system was just one of the insignificant galaxies. There were more developed galaxies like the planet that he used to be on. That was the strongest overall and had a very strong fantasy color. But this time he was accompanying his wife and daughter on a trip. Of course he wouldn't choose to stay there. In any case he would go back to take revenge sooner or later. After all, there were only 100 Supremes in the entire galaxy. They would all be wiped out sooner or later. Yihua opened up one galaxy after another and searched for his target. Retro Wuxia? Although the environment in Voidless Realm was pretty good, Voidless Realm's environment was more or less the same. Baiji and Ali were already familiar with each other. Xianxia world? It seems to be about the same as Voidless Realm. Apocalypse? There were disgusting monsters everywhere. How was this a vacation? It was more like looking for excitement. Yihua didn't know where the most technologically advanced planet in the Milky Way galaxy was located. Yihua directly searched for the planet, and it felt as if he was searching on Baidu. When a blue planet appeared in front of Yihua's eyes, Yihua felt that it was a bit interesting. Outside of the planet there was a huge battleship, while inside the planet, there was a high-tech building that reached the sky, and all of the vehicles were floating in the air. Oh, as expected of the most advanced civilized world, combining technology and martial arts together. Interesting. Xianxia and the others had definitely never seen such a world before, and it was also the first time that Yihua and the others had seen such a world before. Yihua and the others were curious, and thus Yihua and the others decided to bring Xianxia and the others to see the world. This is it. Blue blaze dong dong dong. Donghuang Baiji could be seen leisurely walking into the room, then said lightly, "Yihua, it's almost 12, quickly come down and celebrate your daughter's birthday." Yihua stood up, then hugged onto his wife and kissed her. "Don't mess around, everyone is waiting downstairs." Donghuang Baiji, who was mesmerized by her husband's kiss, hurriedly stopped him. While hugging onto that willowy waist that everyone was envious of, Yihua said faintly, "Tomorrow our whole family will go out to play." "Where?" "It's a secret." Yihua smiled mysteriously. Donghuang Baiji's curiosity was piqued. When he arrived downstairs he saw a huge cake being pushed out from the side. There were 4 little people on it. It represents his honor's family. Very cute. However, when a group of death gods sang a happy birthday song, it was rather comical. The little princess Donghuang Li, who was wearing a birthday hat, placed her hands together and made a wish, hoping that Daddy, Mommy, and Ali would be together forever. Oh. He blew out the candle. Lai Gu and Zhu Tian both pulled the kaleidoscope, and the atmosphere was very joyous. Yihua felt very comfortable just by looking at this scene. Where are the other 3 fellows? Still not coming back to the team yet? Do you need me to go and look for them one by one? At this moment Yihua called Wei Chang and Zhu Tian to the side. "I, the Supreme Overlord, will be going out for a few days. The 2 of you will deal with the matters here. If it isn't a big matter, don't contact me." Zhu Tian nodded his head, then asked respectfully, "How many days will your honor be going out for?" Chapter 440. Because this time the place that we are going to is a bit far away, and ordinary means of transportation will not be able to reach there, Yihua said. Hearing what her daddy said, Donghuang Li immediately became interested. "You can't even go there by plane?" "Of course, it's at a very very far place." While speaking, Yihua even gestured for a bit, causing his daughter to laugh. Not only was Donghuang Li curious, his 2 wives were also curious as well. "Yihua, just what kind of place is this?" Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but roll her eyes at her husband. Her eyes caused Yihua to become a bit restless. He discovered that after being pampered by him, the 2 of them became even more charming, and every single one of their movements was emitting out a peculiar charm. If he were to bring such lovely wives out, he would definitely have a lot of face. Yihua smiled faintly. "All of you close your eyes." "Papa, does Ali also want it?" "Yes." "Alright then." Yihua slowly located the position of Blue Blaze Planet. Because the distance was a bit far, he wasn't able to pinpoint the position of Blue Blaze Planet very accurately. Wow. The 4 of them disappeared from the bedroom. There were still unpacked clothes on the floor, giving people the feeling that they had been kidnapped. The Ashen Star was huge. It was extremely huge. How big could it be? It was as big as 10,000 Earths. As the saying goes, where there are people there will be conflicts. Moreover, this was the most developed civilization in the Milky Way galaxy. Although the entire planet was controlled by the Federation, there were many factions under the Federation fighting openly and secretly. This was a power struggle, it was unavoidable. "Papa, are you done?" "Ali, why do I smell a strange smell?" Donghuang Li asked with her big eyes closed. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji slightly frowned. "Why is there a bloody smell?" Meanwhile, the corner of Yihua's mouth twitched slightly. "This scenery is too beautiful, isn't it?" The surroundings were filled with corpses, and the smell of blood permeated the air. The 2 wives immediately opened their eyes, and they were shocked by the scene in front of them. Donghuang Li also opened her eyes, but she didn't say anything, and there wasn't a trace of discomfort on her face. No matter what, she is still a child who had followed her daddy to see big scenes before, and she was completely able to adapt to this kind of scene. "Yahua!" Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji shouted at their husband. "Our daughter is only 3 years old, and you are already bringing her to see this kind of thing. This was indeed a pleasant surprise. Yihua also didn't expect that he would be teleported to such a place. Wow, what a big star! Dong Huangli raised her head and shouted out. Outside the blue sky, there were 3 huge planets that looked like they could fall at any time. If one ignored the corpses on the ground, the scenery was indeed charming. Daddy, where exactly is this place? Dong Huangli asked curiously. Yihua let out a breath and said faintly, this is the most advanced civilized planet in the Milky Way galaxy, Blue Blaze Planet. Yihua looked at his wives' small mouths and gulped down a mouthful of saliva. Daddy, how far away are we from home? Dong Huangli was just like a curious baby. Around 50,000 light years. Yihua said faintly. Dong Huangli asked again, how far is 5 light years? Why don't you ask the mommies this question? Yihua looked towards his wives. The father and daughter pair looked towards Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji, and the 2 women immediately became confused. After waiting for a long while, Dong Huangli pouted her mouth and said, Daddy, Mommy doesn't know. It's better for Papa to tell Ali. Mama doesn't study much, so don't blame them. Yihua. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji said coquettishly. Who in the world would tease their wives like this in front of their children? Dong Huangli felt that what Yihua said was reasonable. Daddy, don't worry, Ali will study properly in the future. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji didn't want to say anything anymore. Ali, 30 billion kilometers is 0.003 light years. How far away do you think we are from home? Yihua said faintly. The 2 wives were clearly shocked. So far away. Yihua added, we just crossed the radius of the entire Milky Way galaxy. After finished speaking, Yihua put on the appearance of a big shot. Do you think that I am very powerful? Quickly come and worship me. Daddy is so powerful. Dong Huangli felt that Yihua was just a little fan of Yihua. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji smiled. They had already seen how powerful their husband was, regardless of which aspect. However, right at this moment, more than 10 black dots appeared in the sky. 10 pitch-black armored machines flew over, and the armored machines looked just like black beetles. In the blink of an eye, the armored machines surrounded Yihua and his family. You have been surrounded. Put down your weapons, stop resisting, raise your hands and surrender. One of the aircrafts began issuing a warning. Dong Huangli immediately raised both of her hands. This action of hers is just too cute. Yihua, I don't even know what to say to you anymore. Xianxia smiled bitterly. You said that you came out for a vacation, but right after you arrived, you are already surrounded. Donghuang Baiji carried on to her daughter who had raised her hands and surrendered. Donghuang Baiji felt a bit helpless. Wow, Daddy is so exciting, it is just like watching a Marvel movie, Ali likes it so much. Yihua snorted coldly, did you hear that? Your daughter likes it this way. Xianxia laughed lightly, then asked curiously, then what do you plan to do? Since they disturbed our family's vacation, we naturally have to get rid of them. This is all a misunderstanding. If you were to get rid of them, we would become wanted criminals. At that time, what would be the point of playing? Xianxia lightly held onto her husband's arm and said. Hearing his wife's soft voice, Yihua couldn't help but nod his head. Soon after he came back to his senses. Xianxia is actually able to bewitch me, formidable. You have misunderstood, we are. Before Xianxia could finish her words, 6 guided missiles came whistling towards Yihua from afar. Yihua felt that these were not ordinary guided missiles. Spiritual energy was contained within the guided missiles. As expected of a planet where technology and martial arts are fused together, this is a bit interesting. Boom boom boom. 6 loud explosions rang out in the sky, and the missiles turned into 6 huge fireballs that smashed onto the ground. Donghuang Li's big eyes were filled with excitement. This is what a vacation is like. Those 4 aircrafts could be seen immediately turning around and returning. Seems like we have met with people that we can't afford to offend. 2 black dots gradually appeared in the sky. Those were 2 small-sized warships. Even if they were small-sized warships, they were still as big as an aircraft carrier. The warships slowly stopped not far away from the warships, and a large amount of dust was raised. There were quite a few people that came down from the warships, and all of them were wearing the same uniform. The last one that came down from the warship was a rather handsome female military officer. Yihua took a glance at the female military officer. What are you looking at? What is there to look at? Donghuang Baiji reminded her husband in a low voice, to not peek at other women. Yihua felt helpless. Everything about the 2 of us is good, but when I look at other women, I feel as if I have already used my gaze to disrespect other women. The female military officer could be seen walking towards Yihua along with several hundred fully armed soldiers. Soon after, the warships stopped not far away from the warships. Yihua was very curious. Just what are you all trying to do? Don't have any bad thoughts, if not, you all will die. Swoosh. In any case, other than themselves, all the other girls who were talking to their husband were all harboring evil intentions. I guess so. Ali also cultivates martial arts. Donghuang Baiji carried her daughter into her embrace and said lightly, "All right, Ali, don't disturb Daddy and Big Sister's conversation." A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. I often say that I'm the king of vinegar, but your empress's vinegar is also very sour. Shi Tingting was a little embarrassed. Sir, I'm being rude. May I ask what your level is? Level? Yes, sir, you must be a traveler. Here, the levels are divided into martial disciple, martial artist, martial knight, martial master, martial king, martial emperor, martial spirit, and martial venerable. Each level has 10 grades. Shi Tingting explained. Yihua paused for a moment, then I shouldn't be among them. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji were speechless. You actually dare to act cool in front of Big Sister. Are you thinking that we are old? Xianxia said with a slight smile. I'm really sorry, my husband likes to joke around a bit. In actuality, he is a martial artist. Her meaning was very clear. My husband is too trash, so don't have any ideas about him. However, the truth wasn't like that. Sir, are you really a martial artist? Can you do me a favor? Shi Tingting, who was excited, immediately went forward and held onto Yihua's hand. The corners of Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji's mouth twitched. Donghuang Li turned around and covered her face. Mommy's expression is so scary. Creak, creak, the titanium alloy armrest on the side of the bed was deformed by the two women's hands, and it was about to go berserk. Shi Tingting immediately reacted and retreated a few steps back. Madam, I'm sorry, I was too excited just now. Looking at the titanium alloy armrest that was deformed into a fried dough twist, Shi Tingting was incomparably shocked. Madam, may I ask what your level is? Martial artist. That's great. Shi Tingting seemed very excited, as if she was saved. In actuality, the three of them had long broken away from the division of levels. Even if a martial venerable came, they would be able to kill that martial venerable with a single finger. But it seems like, even a martial artist can be very popular in this place. Are there very few martial artists here? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Shi Tingting let out a breath. Madam, practicing martial arts is very hard, it also requires talent and also a lot of resources. Our Blue Blaze planet is a planet that mainly focuses on technology. With a set of top-notch armor, one would be able to defeat a martial disciple. However, if one were to become a martial artist even in the main city, one would still have a place to stand. Martial disciple? Martial artist? Your planet is so weak, is this really good? Then are there martial kings? Yihua asked curiously. Hearing Yihua mentioning about martial kings, Shi Tingting immediately panicked. Sir, martial kings are godlike existences in the entire Blue Blaze planet. There are only 3 martial kings, and they live in the Imperial City and are revered by tens of thousands of people. In actuality, every world had its own division of strength, and Blue Blaze planet was divided according to an average. If one had to compare, then the 10th rank martial artist here would probably be as strong as Xiao Yi. If not, how could martial kings be revered by tens of thousands of people? From this, it could be seen just how big the gap between the two of them was. However, the number of people who practiced martial arts in Blue Blaze planet was still very little, and this made the planet even more of a product of power struggle. However, even if this was the case, there was nothing to be afraid of, because Yihua knew that this planet was also controlled by a god. Even an overlord would be killed like a chicken, let alone a martial king. Just a clown, the supreme overlord would be able to take his head from 1,000 miles away. Alright, tell me what you want. Yihua said. Shi Tingting slightly leaned her body and immediately her white skin was revealed. Creak creak. This is the sound of a titanium alloy being twisted into a super fried dough twist. After bowing deeply, Shi Tingting said gravely, although I am from the aristocratic faction, my strength is too weak, and these 2 spaceships are the only weapons that my family has. Therefore, the aristocratic faction wanted to remove my title. When this news was leaked out, my family was attacked by the main faction and my father and brother died in battle, leaving me alone. What a pitiful big sister. Donghuang Li really wanted to go over and comfort her. Meanwhile, Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji felt that there was a bit of a problem with the last sentence. This is a crazy hint. Selling my body to bury my father. So? Yihua asked faintly. Sir, I know that this matter is very difficult, but I still hope that you can make a trip with me, and after that, prove your identity as a martial artist. All the aristocratic factions wanted to have a friend like a martial artist, and this was also a measure of one's relationship network. Chapter 442. With a plop, Xitingting immediately knelt on the ground. Sir, if you can help my family escape this crisis, I, Xitingting, swear to the martial honor that I am willing to be your servant and serve you. Yihua looked towards his two wives. Right now I, the Supreme Overlord, am in hot demand. Don't you guys have any sense of crisis? Xianxia and Baiji stood up and helped Xitingting up, and Xianxia said with a smile, Miss, your words are too serious, my husband was just joking with you, we will help him. Thank you so much, sir and madam. I, Xitingting, will remember your kindness. Yihua took a deep breath, then said faintly, You can leave first. Yes, sir. After Xitingting left, the room was filled with a sour smell. Yihua carried his daughter and said with a smile, Ali, what if mommy gets jealous? Kiss mama, even his daughter knew about it. Humph, who's jealous of you? Ali, don't listen to your daddy, come to mommy's embrace. Donghuang Baiji stretched out her hand and hugged onto her daughter. Yihua said faintly, We are here to travel, and yet you guys are here to interfere in other people's dispute. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji immediately realized that what they had done just now was wrong. Weren't we just jealous? Adding on the fact that the other party is also quite pitiful, furthermore, this isn't a difficult thing to do, all I have to do is to prove my strength. In Yihua's opinion, a woman's hair is long but her knowledge is short. If he went to show off, there would definitely be people eyeing him. Would he still be able to travel with peace of mind? However, the two women also pondered for a moment. They really didn't think about what they did just now. Yihua, we're sorry, we didn't consider things thoroughly. The two women apologized to their husbands. Yihua stretched out his hand and pinched onto his wife's cheeks. You two, don't be jealous and use your brains more. In actuality, when Yihua wasn't by their side, Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji were very smart. However, as long as they were together with Yihua, it would be as if they had someone to rely on. They wouldn't think about anything else other than accompanying their husband, taking care of him and loving him. Actually, a woman in love has a negative IQ. Mommy, you can be at ease, Daddy will definitely not leave the two of you. Donghuang Li also cheered for her mommy. The two girls giggled. They felt that they were indeed a little stingy and easily jealous. In actuality, if it was Yihua, he might have already made a move to exterminate them. He was not called the jealous king of the cultivation world for nothing. The warship entered a military base outside of the city, and Xitingting arranged a car for them. Xitingting brought Yihua's family of 4 back to the manor to have a meal, and in the afternoon, they would go to the home of martial arts. There are 10 martial disciples behind me, and their overall strength is enough to exterminate a family. Let me ask you all if you are afraid of me or not. Before Yihua could say anything, Xitingting, who was in the car, stretched out her head and shouted out, Gao Yi, what you are doing is illegal. So what? The aristocratic party has already abandoned you. Such a huge commotion, and yet they did not come out to save you. From this, it can be seen that you are already an abandoned person. Gao Yi laughed madly. Who asked you to abandon me? Gao Yi, you can kill me if you want. But they are my guests. Oomph. They are just 3 martial disciples. If I can't defeat them, I will go and eat shit. Gao Yi was completely unaware of who was standing in front of him. If one has the strength to act cool, then that is called awesome. If one doesn't have the strength to act cool, then that is called an idiot. Furthermore, this is an iron plate among iron plates. If you kick it, your body will be smashed into pieces. Snap, the sound of a finger snapping could be heard. When Gao Yi heard it, he went into a daze for a moment. Bang! His entire body immediately exploded and transformed into a mist of blood. Even the martial disciples behind him were the same. Yihua looked at Xianxia, who was beside him, in disbelief. Good fellow. I, the Supreme Overlord, like women like you who kill without batting an eye. Do you think sh*t is something that you can eat whenever you want to? Xianxia said coldly. I hate it the most when people scold my husband. In the past, I didn't have the strength, but now that I have the strength, I naturally have to stand up for my husband. Gao Yi's soul was crying out for injustice. When did I scold people? Can you be reasonable? Donghuang Li clapped her hands. Mommy Qing is so formidable. Ali, quickly get into the car, you are not allowed to look. Xianxia instructed. Donghuang Li responded, then sat into the car. However, Donghuang Li still stretched her head out to look at the battleship. Donghuang Baiji's current strength was different from the past. Looking at the battleship that was preparing to jump, a purple longsword materialized on Donghuang Baiji's right hand. Swish, swish, swish. 3 purple lights flew towards the battleship. There is actually not a single long out yin among these people. Boring. These people were all pointing at Shi Tingting and whispering. Shi Tingting knew what they were talking about and said in a low voice, "Sir, I'm so sorry." "Nothing, where do you want to sit?" Yi Hua said faintly. All of them were salted fishes, and at the very most, they were the kind of salted fishes that were of a higher level, and they even had some brains. "Daddy, let's sit next to the window. Ali wants to look at the scenery." Dong Huangli pulled onto the corner of her father's clothes, then pointed towards the seat that was beside the window and was currently empty. Indeed, the scenery would be pretty good. What does it matter if my daughter wants a seat? Even if my daughter wants the entire blue blaze star, this sovereign will satisfy my daughter. But if it was a son, he would fight for it with his own ability. Right now, Yi Hua also had the thought of raising a daughter from the rich and raising a son from the poor. Seems like I am also poor. In actuality, Yi Hua neglected one thing, and that's right. On Earth, my wives have plenty of money, but on Blue Blaze Star, RMB isn't useful anymore. In other words, if I have to take on the responsibility of earning money, will I, the Supreme Overlord, go and earn money? Don't think too much about it. Therefore, Yi Hua reluctantly helped Shi Tingting. In exchange, Yi Hua felt that he should let Shi Tingting pay for the expenses of this trip. "Sir, that seat won't do," Shi Tingting said anxiously. Yi Hua turned his head around and took a look at Shi Tingting, then said faintly, "At my place there is nothing that won't do." What a handsome man. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji smiled but didn't say anything. Even if they are going to travel, they still have to act cool. The 5 of them sat down and Donghuang Li lied on the side of the big transparent window. While looking at the strange world in front of her, a cute smile appeared on Donghuang Li's face. "Daddy, it's so beautiful," Donghuang Li mumbled. This city was indeed out of the ordinary when matched with the 3 huge satellites in the sky. This was all artificially adjusted beauty, and it had the most scientific basis. All of the plants and the layout of the buildings in the city were all a kind of aesthetic. Suddenly, a man who was holding onto a stack of paper, with a humble smile on his face, began handing out leaflets. Very quickly, the leaflet arrived at Yi Hua's table. The man took out a piece of paper and placed it on the table, then said with a smile, "Space Administration, 5 social insurance and 1 housing fund, with double holidays and annual leave, please understand it." Right after the man finished speaking, 3 to 4 soldiers who were wearing high-tech armor walked over, grabbed onto the man, then took off the man's clothes and left. Yi Hua picked up the leaflet and took a look. The nature of the job is rather interesting. Chapter 444. You guys are martial artists? Feng Lan's expression could be seen immediately changing, and she asked with a fawning look on her face. From this, it could be seen how popular martial artists were. If Xiao Yi knew that martial artists were so popular here, he would definitely stay here and develop himself. Yi Hua didn't say anything, and Donghuang Baiji, who was the empress, also didn't say anything. Only Xianxia spoke on behalf of the family. "That's right," Xianxia said faintly. Donghuang Li also pointed at herself and said, "Ali is also a martial artist." Feng Lan was shocked. Not only was Feng Lan shocked, everyone who was from the aristocratic faction was also shocked. They didn't expect that Shi Tingting, who was about to be banished, would actually bring 4 martial artists here to have a meal. Right now, no one dared to look down on Shi Tingting anymore. Bah! A loud and clear sound of a slap rang out in the dining hall. Everyone looked at Feng Lan. When this woman becomes ruthless, she's simply inhumane. Yi Hua and the others were also very confused. Everything was clearly fine. Why did you suddenly slap your own man? Look at that man, he was holding onto his face, completely stupefied, completely unable to understand why he suddenly slapped himself. Feng Lan smiled towards Shi Tingting and said, "Tingting, this man deserves to die. He actually dared to seduce me. Fortunately, I noticed some clues just now and didn't continue to be fooled by him." Shi Tingting sneered. The man shouted out that he was wronged. "I didn't do anything just now, and you slapped me for no reason at all, and you even said that I seduced you. Simply too shameless." "Who seduced you?" "Feng Lan, it was obviously you who seduced me." "Tingting, listen to my explanation." The man could be seen kneeling in front of Shi Tingting and begging. He knew that Shi Tingting was about to rise up. Feng Lan said, Ting, don't ever believe this man's words, his mouth is full of sweet words. Although he was your fiancé in the past, he actually shamelessly seduced me, making me feel ashamed. This man was indeed Ting's fiancé in the past, until he was seduced by Fenglovlan. When he had nothing to do, he would bring his male pet to show off, and today was also the same. Just that he saw that there was a martial artist beside Ting. It could be seen that martial artists were truly popular. Ting, don't listen to his nonsense. It was this woman who drugged me, that's why I did something that let you down, and she even threatened me, saying that if I don't kneel down and lick her, she will beat me up. Fenglovlan yelled. Men, drag him out and beat the shit out of him. Fulfill his wish. Instantly, a few fully armed men in mechas walked over and dragged the man away. However, the man was still struggling. Ting, I know I was wrong. Please save me. I won't dare to do it again. I'll serve you well. However, Ting ignored them. She could still vividly remember how the two of them had treated her. This kind of man was only handsome, and this powerful noble woman was completely played with like a dog. After playing with him enough, she would just kill him like this. It was the same in every world. The strong were respected and the weak were food. Honorable martial artists, I'm really sorry for disturbing your meal. You can eat whatever you want, it's all on me. Ting, take good care of the martial artists. This Fenglovlan was also a smart woman. She knew that her first impression of Yi Hua wasn't very good. Thus, she didn't directly start a conversation with Yi Hua. Instead, she expressed her apology and complimented the martial artists. Mister, this is my name card. If you have any questions, you can contact me. My 9949 holographic phone will protect you 24/7. Yi Hua accepted Fenglovlan's name card. This made the latter very happy, and she left happily. The reason why I accepted this name card is to prepare for when I don't need it. If the traveling expenses are not enough, at least there will be someone to count the money and pay for me. That would be my greatest honor. Mister, this woman is very good at lying. Seeing that Yi Hua accepted the name card, Ting still stopped in case her mister was lied to. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth curved up and he said indifferently, only the two of them can lie to me. Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji rolled their eyes at their husband. You are obviously the one who lied to us. And you still have the cheek to say that we lied to you? You are so shameless. Ting felt that their relationship is really good. They are really a match made in heaven. They are incomparably perfect. Even their daughter is so cute and obedient. Very quickly, various kinds of dishes were served. Needless to say, the dishes tasted really good. The heat was just right. When it should be tender, when it should be loose, when it should be tight, when it should be tight. Advanced civilization sure is good. I reckon that this chef is a robot, right? If we don't consider the nutritional value, the taste is indeed not bad. So spicy, spicy, Donghuang Li shouted out to her mother. Right now, Donghuang Baiji also had Voidless Realms mineral water, bejeweled jade immortal dew, with her. In case the child gets thirsty, the spiciness will help them quench their thirst. Donghuang Baiji could be seen grabbing at the air, and a bottle of Yi Bao appeared in her hands. This move of hers made Ting stupefied. What kind of spatial technology is this? This family of theirs is really mystical. It feels as if they are not afraid of anything at all. Furthermore, Mr. is bringing two such beautiful wives with him. Isn't he afraid that something might happen? After all, their beauty is truly enviable. Mommy, help Ali open the bottle. Ali's hands are covered in oil. Ali waved his hands. Chapter 445. Donghuang Li washed her hands clean, then held onto Yi Bao with both of her hands. Gulp, gulp, he drank an entire bottle in one go. Burp, so cool. Looking at her daughter's adorable look, Donghuang Baiji stretched out her hand and smoothed her daughter's hair. No matter what, we are still outside, I have to pay attention to my image. Donghuang Baiji took out another bottle. Ting, who was sitting opposite, was dumbfounded. No wonder he used it to wash his hands. All the nobles also discovered that the beautiful woman actually had a lot of such things. Should I buy a bottle? Xianxia opened the bottle cap and personally poured a cup for Ting. This caused Ting to be very terrified as she took the cup with both of her hands and received it. When the nobles saw that Ting could drink such wine, they were simply envious and jealous. Ting felt very honored. Their family was really nice. Ting took a sip of the water. This kind of feeling was like being in the sea. His body and mind were completely relaxed, and the joy of the brain was incomparable. This was the sublimation of the soul. No, I can't drink any more. Sir, I don't want to drink any more. Yi Hua slightly wrinkled his brows. Not giving me any face at all? Shi Tingting didn't finish her sentence. I want to store it and drink it slowly in the future. Yi Hua's brows gradually unfurrowed. To them, this water might be a treasure, but to me this water is merely something that I can use to wash my daughter's hands. Voidless Realm spring water is truly one of a kind. Perhaps, even in the entire Milky Way galaxy, there wouldn't be so many spring water. It would be a lie to say that they weren't envious. Some of the nobles began to whisper and discuss bad things. After dinner, Shi Tingting brought Yi Hua and his family to martial arts home. Every city has a martial arts home that provides tests and assessments. The rating is produced in the martial arts home. The higher the rank, the bigger the city, the smaller the city. Of course, this is only for the Blue Blaze Star because this small city is as big as a province. But small cities like this were quite common on the Blue Blaze Star. Looking at the 2-story tall martial arts home in front of him, Yi Hua felt that this martial arts home was a bit too shabby. Sir, this is a small place. There aren't many people who learn martial arts here, so the scale looks very ordinary. Shi Tingting explained. Compared to the other buildings, this martial arts house was indeed shabby, but there were a lot of people going in and out. There are humans and there are also other races. This is truly an eye-opener. I wonder if I will be able to see Wei Chang's relatives. Mommy, do you think that if I take a photo with those strange uncles, will they pay any attention to Ali? Dong Huangli hugged onto her mother's thigh and looked at those aliens. Right now, Dong Huangli really wanted to go and take a photo with those aliens. Dong Huang Baiji smiled. Ali, you're asking politely. But, Ali is shy, she doesn't dare to go. Dong Huangli buried her face into her mother's thigh. Don't be fooled by Ali's carefree demeanor. When it came to other races it was still very shy. Walking into the home of martial arts, the atmosphere was a bit heavy. Bang! With a muffled sound, the result of the test came. Lu Feifei Martial Disciple Grade 1. Vast Green Primary Martial Disciple. Hai Xiaoxiao Martial Disciple. But if you think they will be disappointed, you are wrong. Even if he was just a beginner martial disciple, it also symbolized that his future path would lead to a martial king. Therefore he was very happy and felt that he would be able to stand at the peak of the world and look down on everyone. However, they did not know the hardships of the path of cultivation. Some people cultivated to the level of a martial artist and were stuck their entire lives, unable to advance any further. Some people even gave up because they were afraid of being tired. In short, the road of martial arts was very difficult, but as long as one stood out, it would be a matter of bringing honor to one's ancestors. For poor children that was their only chance. However, in this room there were many people dressed in luxurious clothes. They were also waiting in line for the test. Along with Yi Hua entering the venue, a few groups of people followed behind him. From the looks of it, there were already people who had ill intentions. Of course, Yi Hua was aware of that. They can follow me as they please as long as they don't do anything to me. He then prepare to receive my wrath. Ali, go and give it a try. Yi Hua changed his mind at the last moment and decided to let Ali practice. Okay Papa, Dong Huangli responded, then went to the back of the line. A staff member walked to the side and asked Dong Huangli, Sir Ali? Shi Tingting was a little worried. Xianxia said faintly, you can be at ease. Dong Huangli, who was standing in the crowd, looked very short. Because most of the people in the crowd were adults, only a few of them looked like youngsters. However, there wasn't a single child in the crowd. An adult could be seen walking to the front of the machine, taking a deep breath, then shouted out. Then the adult punched towards the machine. Bang! Failed next. When the adult heard the result, a dejected look appeared on his face. I didn't expect that after cultivating for so long, I would still fail like this. At this moment there were a few machines that were testing at the same time. A man dressed in luxurious clothes could be seen walking onto the stage. Who is that? Yi Hua asked curiously. Shi Tingting said, Sir, that is Gao family's young master. The person who attacked us today is his older brother. Bang! Following a muffled sound. The staff member announced, Gao Ken, 3rd rank martial disciple. The crowd went into an uproar. As expected of Gao family's young master, he is already a 3rd rank martial disciple at such a young age. I heard that his older brother, Gao Yi, is also a martial artist. This main sect is incredible, they even stole away the limelight. Gao Ken is so handsome. Gao Ken, who was on the stage, swung his head, causing a few females to scream out continuously. At this moment, another man walked onto the stage. The man was dressed in ordinary clothes, but the crowd's reaction was very strange. Yi Hua felt very curious and asked, Who is he? Sir, he is from the royal family, his name is Zhou Jia. In the past he was also very impressive, reaching 5th rank martial disciple at such a young age. He could be said to be the youngster with the most potential of the year, but for some reason he suddenly became weak and fell down from the altar, thus losing the support of his family. After Shi Tingting explained, Xianxia and Donghuang Baiji felt that this youngster had quite a bit of perseverance. He did not get knocked down by the difficulties. After listening to Zhou Zhiya's story, Yihua didn't think much about it. In any case, it was just a story of a hard-working youngster who finally reached the peak of his life after going through untold hardships. Too cliché. Zhou Zhiya slowly walked up the stairs and behind him, some people were ridiculing him. I remember that in the past they would always follow behind him and bootlick him. Young Master Zhou, don't waste your effort. In any case, isn't it better to just eat and wait for death? Haha, that's right, young Master Zhou, you are already no longer the genius Zhou of the past. Chapter 446. Zhou Zhiya listened to the ridiculing voices. Zhou Zhiya clenched his fists. These are all despicable people. When I recover my strength, I will let them know how powerful I am. Zhou Zhiya stood in the horse stance and clenched his right fist, then shouted out, "Ah!" Bang. Everyone was waiting for the result to be announced. The strength of that punch seems to be quite strong. Could it be that this Zhou Zhiya recovered his strength? Zhou Zhiya, beginner martial disciple. The crowd started booing. I thought that this Zhou Zhiya had risen to power, but it turns out that he is still the same. Hey Zhou Zhiya, I heard that if you continue to be like this today, Shi family will break off the engagement. What a pity for Shi family Xianhuan. That's right, whoever follows such a trash would definitely not be able to stand it. Dong Huangli felt that the big brother on the stage was rather pitiful, being ridiculed by everyone. However, Dong Huangli admired the big brother's endurance. It seems like he has already gotten used to it. Zhou Zhiya looked at the group of despicable people coldly and shouted out angrily, "Life is full of ups and downs, don't bully the young for being poor." Zhou Zhiya's words were very imposing, causing everyone to go into a daze. However, after a short while the crowd burst into laughter. Gao Kan pointed at Zhou Zhiya and shouted out, "Look at this idiot acting cool here even though he doesn't have the strength. Hurry up and go back, Shi family has already broken off the engagement with your family. You should save those words for your fiancé." Ah. After Gao Kan finished speaking, the crowd burst into laughter once again. Zhou Zhiya's face became gloomy as he memorized the faces of those who were laughing. I will settle the scores with all of them in the future. After snorting coldly, Zhou Zhiya walked down the stage and walked outside. Bang. It was unknown who tripped Zhou Zhiya, causing him to fall on his face. Everyone burst into laughter once again. Zhou Zhiya was so angry that his chest was about to explode. These trash. Wait till I recover my strength, I will make you pay for what you did today. Big brother, are you alright? A pleasant voice sounded out. Zhou Zhiya slowly raised his head and saw a little girl who was wearing a princess dress in front of him. The little girl's gaze was filled with concern. Facing the little girl's concern, Zhou Zhiya felt that it was ironic. Since when did a little girl like me have the right to care about me? Zhou Zhiya stood up and said coldly, "It's none of your business." Dong Huangli pouted her mouth, then walked back into the group. Right now, Dong Huangli finally understood why everyone wanted to bully him. Looking at her unhappy daughter, Dong Huang Baiji held onto Yihua's arm and said, "Yihua, our daughter is angry." Xianxia was a bit unhappy too. My pitiful little Ali, he clearly wanted to do a good deed, but in the end the other party didn't appreciate his kindness. Yihua did not say anything. Not all good deeds will be rewarded with good deeds. My daughter also has to understand this point. Why would I be ridiculed by everyone? This is not without reason. The person who was standing in front of Dong Huangli was a young girl. Compared to everyone present, the young girl could be considered to be the youngest. The young girl's appearance was pretty good, and she could be counted as a beauty. The woman turned around and crouched down, comforting him. "Don't be sad, I've encountered it before." "Is that so?" Dong Huangli raised her head and asked adorably. Seeing how cute Dong Huangli was, the girl said with a smile, "Of course there are a lot of them. So there are many such things." Ali understands now. "Ali, what's your name?" the girl asked curiously. "My name is Dong Huangli, big sister, what is your name?" The girl smiled and said, "My surname is Ziche and my name is Qingyi." Dong Huangli appeared to be very polite as she stretched out her hand and said, "So it's big sister Qingyi, hello?" "Hello little Ali," Zish Qingyi said with a faint smile. "Ali, did you come alone?" Dong Huangli shook her head, then pointed at her parents who were not far away from her. I didn't, Daddy and Mommy came with me. Xianxia looked over and saw Yihua and the others. Soon after, Xianxia asked curiously, Ali has been practicing martial arts at such a young age? So powerful. Dong Huangli said proudly, of course, Ali has been practicing martial arts since she was a child. Xianxia smiled but didn't say anything. You're already so young, so how young are you going to be? Ali's parents probably just wanted to train their child. Little guy, being able to punch through a piece of paper with your little fist is already not bad. A young man standing at the side laughed. Xianxia looked at the man and said, Fei Bai. You're so shameless to bully a little girl. Fei Bai was a delicate-looking boy, and he was also one of the young people present. Qingyi, I'm just speaking the truth, isn't that right, everyone? Fei Bai spread out his hands and some of the people around him nodded their heads. What kind of strength can a little girl have? Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth and had a very angry look on her face. If it wasn't for Daddy and Mommy watching, I would have punched him right now and let him know that not only can Ali's little fist punch through a piece of paper, it can also punch through your body. Little fellow, it's better for you to go into Daddy and Mommy's embrace. This is the world of adults, it's very dangerous. Fei Bai laughed, then walked onto the stage. Of course there was also Xianxia. Xianxia took a deep breath, shouted delicately and punched out. Boom. Xianxia. Third rank martial disciple. Everyone present went into an uproar. To be able to reach third rank martial disciple at such a young age, this is truly amazing. As expected of Xianxia, this proud daughter of heaven. Fei Bai, who was at the side, was not to be outdone either, and his entire body actually emitted out faint spiritual energy. This time the entire place became silent. Spiritual energy actually leaked out. Bang. This sound caused everyone's ears to go numb. Fei Bai. Fourth rank martial disciple. Everyone was no longer able to remain calm, even Gao Can's expression was gloomy. This Fei Bai is also from the main faction. Although they are from the same faction, he actually dared to step on my head. This is truly hateful. When the time comes, I will let Big Brother go and teach him a lesson. Completely unaware that his own big brother had already died. The three elders who were sitting at the side revealed a gratified smile. All of these youngsters are not bad, their future prospects are boundless. This time it was Dong Huangli's turn. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji were both excited, and they tightly held onto their husbands' hands. Although they knew of their daughter's strength, looking at the current situation, they couldn't help but feel worried for their daughter. Originally, Dong Huangli was only so big, standing in the crowd, it was impossible to notice her at all. Right now, when everyone saw Dong Huangli going onto the stage, they all laughed out loud. With such a small height, not even the equipment on the stage can reach her. Yihua and his two wives were very angry. These damn trash are actually laughing at our daughter, we really want to directly kill them. Little fellow, quickly go home and watch cartoons. That's right, little fellow, this place is very dangerous. Little fellow, quickly go home, don't let Daddy and Mommy worry. Although Yihua was laughing, he was laughing at how cute Dong Huangli was. Yihua wasn't laughing at Dong Huangli, after all, Dong Huangli has never seen a little girl before. Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth. Ali is angry. Why is it that Daddy is so awesome when acting cool, and why am I not able to? It seemed that Ali still had to learn a lot from Papa and strive to have half of Papa's demeanor as soon as possible. Dong Huangli, who was helpless, walked down from the stage, then took a look at Xianxia, who was in front of her, and let out a deep sigh. This feeling seemed to be saying that Ali was really depressed. If she had known this would happen, she would have hit him more gently and wouldn't have sent him flying. Ali is really amazing. Although he did not know how strong Ali was, he was certain that Ali was at least stronger than him. Dong Huangli smiled embarrassedly. It's all right. Ali, right? Big brother, I misunderstood you just now. Fei Bai walked over and said while stammering. I feel that I have lost a lot of face by apologizing to a child. Dong Huangli pursed her lips. Big brother, Ali accepts your apology. When did I apologize just now? You are simply spouting nonsense and creating trouble. Looking at his daughter getting along well with the group of older children, Yihua smiled. I feel that my daughter has grown up. Dong Huang Baiji was a bit sentimental. It seems like my daughter will leave me and die when she grows up. Yihua lightly hugged onto the Empress. Ali is going to get married sooner or later. I can't bear to. Dong Huang Baiji became more and more sentimental, and her eyes turned red. Upon thinking about how my sweetheart is going to get married to someone else, my heart feels terrible. Yihua smiled. How about this, let Ali get married to someone else. This way, Ali won't leave your side. That's the only way then. Donghuang Baiji felt that what Yihua said was true. My daughter cannot be married off to someone else. It's fortunate that my child is a boy, I don't have to worry about it at all. Hello, may I ask if Donghuang Li is your child? One of the three old men could be seen walking over and asking. Shi Tingting immediately shouted out respectfully, Dean Kong. Martial arts home could be considered as the fourth biggest power in the world, but it doesn't participate in any power struggles. Martial arts home has schools in various big cities, and this Kong Yu was the dean of the school in this city. How could he be willing to part with a new star like Donghuang Li? In the future, Donghuang Li will definitely become a martial king, and she might even become a martial spirit or even a higher-level martial overlord. Towards this polite old man in front of him, Yihua nodded his head. Kong Yu was overjoyed. Donghuang Li is a good child. If this old man teaches her, she will definitely become extraordinary in the future. Do I even need an old man like you to teach my daughter? However, seeing that your attitude is good, I will forget about it. No need. Yihua said indifferently. While hugging onto his two wives, he looked at his daughter bragging to others. Kong Yu wrinkled his brows, then signaled to Shi Tingting who was at the side to say good things about Donghuang Li. Shi Tingting shook her head. Although we just came into contact with each other, Shi Tingting felt that this mister doesn't like to say things twice, if not, he will get angry. It wasn't easy for me to beg mister, and now that the situation has stabilized, I don't want to disturb mister or make mister angry. Kong Yu stood there for a while. I have to inform the higher-ups about this matter. This Donghuang Li is not simple. Too formidable. In the future she will definitely become a martial king. Most of the people at the scene had already left, and Donghuang Li was preparing to return to her parents' side. However, she suddenly had two big friends and she really wanted to go out and play with them. Ali, big brother will bring you out to play, do you want to go? Fei Bai grinned and said. In actuality, this person isn't a bad person, he just likes to joke around. Zish Qingyi wrinkled his brows and said, where do you want to bring Ali to? Qingyi, look at that expression of yours, where else can we go? Of course, we are going to Zhou family to watch a good show, we are going to cancel the engagement. Donghuang Li became interested. Playing with daddy and mommy is boring, sometimes, this place is not allowed, that place is not allowed. Ali wants to go, but Ali is afraid that daddy and mommy won't agree to it. Donghuang Li had a worried look on her face as she secretly took a glance at her parents who were not far away from her. Fei Bai said with a smile, Ali, when I was your age I would have long gone out and walked around by myself. Hee hee, you get beaten up by someone every day. Zish Qingyi suddenly revealed this information, causing Fei Bai to feel very awkward. Chapter 448. Fei Bai had a calm look on his face as he rubbed onto Ali's head. Leave it to brother Fei. Zish Qingyi was helpless. However, he quite liked Ali, she was a very interesting little girl. Donghuang Li could be seen dragging the two of them to the front of her parents while trembling with fear and trepidation. Yihua silently looked at the boy and girl behind his daughter. The boy and girl immediately shrunk back. This man's gaze is so scary. Seeing her daughter like this, Donghuang Baiji thought back to when she was young. At that time she wanted to go out to play, but in the end she was caught and beaten by her father. Daddy, mommy, can Ali go out to play with big brother and big sister? Donghuang Li asked softly. Looking at her daughter's expectant gaze, Donghuang Baiji didn't know if she should learn from her father and discipline Ali properly. Such a young child actually wants to go out to play with her friends. Right now Yihua was also pondering. My daughter has the strength to protect herself, so I'm not worried about my daughter's safety. I should let my daughter have her own friends and social circle. I can't always tie my daughter to my side, I need to have my own thoughts and opinions. Seeing her daddy and mommy's sunken face, Donghuang Li lowered her head even more and used her shoes to poke the ground, looking very pitiful. Fei Bai mustered up his courage and said, Uncle, auntie, don't worry, in this Long city as long as I am here, no one will dare to bully Ali. Zish Qingyi silently nodded his head. Shi Tingting said softly, Mister, their two families are very prestigious in Long city. Yihua asked curiously, is this place called Long city as well? Yes, mister. What a coincidence, even their names are the same. It wasn't easy for my daughter to make new friends. Although they aren't the same age, it still wasn't easy. If I were to reject them now, my daughter would definitely be sad. Donghuang Baiji thought so too. My daughter had been living in the courtyard since she was young, and all she came into contact with were maids. She didn't have any friends at all. Now that she had two new friends, she would definitely be very happy. When are you coming back? Yihua asked faintly. In the end, he still decided to let his daughter go out to play and let her experience the world by herself. Even if there was any danger, he would also know about it. Furthermore, with the strength that his daughter had displayed, there was no one in the entire Long'an city who could be her match. Hearing her father's words, Dong Huangli became happy. Uncle, don't worry. We'll bring Ali to big sister Shi's house for dinner. What do you think? Zhixing said seriously. He felt a lot of pressure. Ali's parents were definitely not ordinary people. Yihua silently nodded his head. Ali, remember to come back after dinner. Zhixing revealed out a faint smile, causing Fei Bai to become a bit absent-minded. Soon after, Fei Bai shook his head. Ali, let's go and watch the wedding annulment. That scene would definitely be explosive. Fei Bai suggested. Dong Huangli wrinkled her brows. Is it that little big brother who was ridiculed by everyone? That's right, their family is treating us today, but this Zhou Jia's test is still the same. They will definitely come and cancel the wedding. Fei Bai was already impatient to see Zhou Jia's helpless and angry look. Wasn't he very arrogant in the past? To think that he is so amazing just because he is a pampered son, this is retribution. The big sister Qingyi goes, Ali will go too. Dong Huangli held onto Zhixing's hand and said. Zhixing looked at Fei Bai, seemingly to be asking, how are you going to beg me? Qingyi, we have been friends for many years. Before Fei Bai could finish, Dong Huangli cried out in surprise, Big brother Fei, do you like big sister Qingyi? Fei Bai choked on his own saliva, while Zhixing turned her face away with a slightly red face. Ali, how could I possibly like Qingyi? It can't be, it can't be. Fei Bai hurriedly explained. Zhixing said coldly, who asked you to like her? Shameless. After finished speaking, Zhixing pulled Dong Huangli and walked away. No. Qingyi, listen to my explanation. Fei Bai hurriedly followed after Zhixing. You can go and explain to other women. Chapter 449. This situation is a bit similar to that of Papa and Mama. It seems that Ali can also be a matchmaker, haha. Fei Bai had no choice but to follow. After hearing what Ali said, he was a little confused. In actuality, Fei Bai and Zhixing had known each other since they were young. Long'an City's social circle was only that big. Fei Bai's family belonged to the bishop's faction, while Zhixing belonged to the royal family's faction. They were destined to become rivals in the future. However, that was something to do after they grew up. After all, they were only 16 years old. When they were in the prime of their youth, they would hang out and play together. Zhixing was one of the more outstanding girls among the three factions and was liked by many boys. Of course, Fei Bai liked her as well, but he did not say it out loud. He knew that since he was in the bishop's faction, it was impossible for him to be with her in the future. At this moment, an octopus bro walked over with a microphone in his hand. Hello, this is a street interview. Octopus bro grinned, and his entire head was filled with tentacles. Looking at the octopus bro, Dong Huangli's entire body went numb, and Dong Huangli hid behind Zhixing. Fei Bai and Zhixing were now normal. Fei Bai said, interesting, what do you want to interview? I have a device here. Just take a look at your face and you will know how many times you have booked a room. Zhang Yuji's words shocked Fei Bai. The number of times he booked a room? Fei Bai said hurriedly, what's there to test? Let's go. Wait, I think the test is pretty good, Zhixing said indifferently. Qingyi, that's not allowed. I'll treat you to ice cream. Zhixing didn't care at all and let Brother Octopus do the test. Octopus was very happy. He wanted to break up a couple and take revenge on society. The test results came out very quickly. 0 room booking record. This made Fei Bai secretly happy. He did not think that Qingyi had not gone to a hotel before. She was a good girl. Qingyi, didn't you say there's a dress you like? I'll buy it for you. Fei Bai immediately changed the topic. Test, Zhixing said coldly. Dong Huangli said in a low voice, Big brother Fei, do you not dare to do it? He who says I don't dare. It's just a test. So be it. Fei Bai could only bite the bullet. However, the results were often astonishing. At such a young age, he had actually opened it 153 times. Hearing this result, Zhixing's entire body emitted a chill. Thank you for your cooperation. I wish you two a long life together. Brother Octopus ran away after saying that. He was very worried that he would get hammered. Qingyi listened to the explanation. This is all a group of scoundrel friends getting a room and playing cards. It's not what you think. Xianxia said indifferently, "What does it have to do with me?" Li, if you are able to help me court Qingyi, I will do anything you want me to do. Fei Bai patted onto his chest. Right now, I am not of age yet, there are some rules that I don't have to follow. Dong Huangli appeared to be very confident. Leave it to me. Fei Bai patted onto Dong Huangli's shoulder. Big brother appreciates your kind intentions, but there are some things that a child wouldn't understand. The banquet was held in the form of a buffet. People who were dressed luxuriously were chatting with each other in groups, and robots were shuttling back and forth among the crowd, serving drinks to the people. Meanwhile, Dong Huangli pulled out a stool and stood on the stool, then began eating the cake. This is too delicious. This cream cake is simply too delicious. Everyone who was present at the banquet was sent by the royal family, and very few people would touch the buffet. Even if it was a person who looked like a teenager, it would be embarrassing for them to eat like this. However, Dong Huangli was a child and she looked so cute. Li, is it delicious? Xianxia held onto the cream cake and fed it to Dong Huangli. Dong Huangli happily received the cream cake, and her big eyes narrowed into slits. It's delicious. Fei Bai, who was at the side, was drinking fruit wine, looking very gentlemanly. Big sister Qingyi, let me tell you a secret. Dong Huangli said with a smile. What secret? Big brother Fei just told me that he has liked you for a very long time. Dong Huangli said with a smile. Fei Bai sprayed out all of the fruit wine that was in his mouth, then hurriedly explained, Qingyi, Li is just spouting nonsense. Xianxia silently took a look at Fei Bai, then let out a cold snort. Dong Huangli sighed, Big brother Fei, if you continue like this, you will become a single dog in the future, just like my Uncle Green. That's Lady Lu Qing. I didn't expect the Shi family to invite such a person. Fei Bai was astonished. Martial warriors were such powerful beings that they could teach others how to behave in a matter of minutes. Dong Huangli asked curiously, is this Lu Qing very powerful? Xianxia took out a tissue and wiped the corner of Dong Huangli's mouth, then said in a low voice, I heard that in the main city, Dong Huangli's position is quite high. The Shi family is really generous. Fei Bai sighed. Dong Huangli continued to wave the chicken wing. We are all small figures, what is there to be surprised about? The chicken wing is still the most delicious, it smells so good. However, to Long in City, such a person had not appeared for a very long time. This caused everyone to be extremely astonished. Uncle Zhou, hello. Shi Sihan could be seen walking in front of the Zhou clan's family head, Zhou Yutong, and politely shouted out. Zhou Yutong was a tall and sturdy middle-aged man, and there was a faint smile on his face. However, right now, no matter how hard he tried to smile, he was unable to smile at all. The other party's intention was already very clear. This Shi family truly doesn't give me any face at all, to actually choose this kind of occasion. Sihan, after not seeing you for a few months, you have become even more beautiful. Zhou Yutong endured the anger in his heart, and right now, Zhou Jia walked to the side and looked at this woman who had sworn not to leave him in the past. Shi Sihan said with a slight smile, Uncle Zhou, you flatter me. Today Sihan came here to talk about a matter. Hearing what Shi Sihan said, everyone held their breath. She really came here to break off the engagement. Burp, a strange sound rang out. In this quiet occasion, Dong Huangli squatted down embarrassedly. After burping because she was too full, she let out a burp. After this small interlude, Shi Sihan said with a smile, Uncle Zhou, if there's anything that Sihan wants to say, you don't have to treat me as an outsider. Of course not, Sihan, if there's anything that you want to say, just say it. Looking at the martial warrior level experts and the two martial warriors behind them, Zhou Yutong didn't dare to say anything. Shi Sihan took a look at Zhou Jie, then said faintly, my father wishes for our two families to break off the engagement. Sihan is truly sorry. Hearing what Shi Sihan said, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Shi Sihan really said it out loud, that's a direct slap to the face. However, Shi Sihan said it tactfully, she was rather polite. Shi Sihan raised her hand and Lu Qing took out a small box. Shi Sihan said faintly, Uncle Zhou, inside this box is a spirit-gathering pill, Zhuya should be able to use it. I hope that he will be able to find a better girl in the future. Bang. The wine glass in Zhou Yutong's hand was smashed into pieces. I am the dignified family head. Chapter 451. There were warriors on the other side. Father. Zhou Jie covered his face in disbelief. Xianxia smiled faintly and said, Uncle Zhou, it's fortunate that you made a move, otherwise Xianxia would have been injured. Zhou Yutang's expression was gloomy as he said, Xianxia, you have achieved your goal. Go back. Uncle Zhou, your son was about to hit me just now. Shouldn't you apologize? Xianxia had a wronged expression on her face. Her acting was not bad. This Zhou Jie really doesn't know his place. I've already given you face, but you still want to beat me up. He was really a toad lusting after swan meat. Why didn't he look at himself first? Zhou Jie wants to apologize. Gao Can suddenly shouted from the crowd. He was from the bishop's faction, so of course he was happy to see such a situation. He also had the intention of beating the dog when it was down. As Gao Can shouted, the youths who had been bullied by Zhou Jie in the past also started to jeer. Dong Huangli said, how pitiful to be targeted by so many people. Ali, if you knew Zhou Jie's character in the past, you wouldn't find him pitiful anymore, Fei Bai said calmly. Ziju Qingyi remained silent. In fact, no one interrupted. After all, the Shi family had brought a warrior with them. Who would dare to mess around? Zhou Jie, who had fallen to the ground, slowly stood up. His blood-red eyes glared at Xianxia as his body emitted a pure white spiritual energy. Damn. What was going on? How did this Zhou Jie? Zhou Jie is showing his prowess now. What a reversal, Xianxia is probably regretting it now. The spiritual energy on Zhou Jie's body grew thicker and thicker. His blood-red eyes turned white and his level continued to rise. Xianxia took a step back in disbelief. She didn't expect Zhou Jie to have such a reaction. Zhou Yutang, who was behind him, was very gratified. His son had indeed been enduring silently all this while. He was still the proud son of the past. As his strength increased, the dining table shook. Zhou Jie was like a bright sun, shining brightly. Beginner martial disciple. 1st grade martial disciple. 10th grade martial disciple. 1st grade martial disciple. 5th grade martial disciple. 10th grade martial disciple. This time, everyone was stunned. The Zhou family was about to rise. Zhou Jie had risen again. He was even more powerful than before. A wave of spiritual pressure gradually spread out and everyone could feel it. What terrifying strength. This Zhou Jie was only 16 years old, but he had already reached level 10. How fierce. You wouldn't be able to find a second genius like him in the entire Federation. This Xianxia was slapped in the face. Although it wasn't loud, it was painful. How could she miss such a man? If this didn't happen, Xianxia would be the woman of a superstar in the future. She would be the object of envy for all women. Boom. A beam of white light soared into the sky. My Shi family is about to go to the Imperial City. Have you been there before? Do you know how many people like you are in the Imperial City? Even if you suddenly become strong now, in my eyes, you will forever be a trash. Lu Qing, who was at the side, couldn't help but sigh. Even in the entire Imperial City, this Zhou Jie can be counted as a genius. Right now, if you admit defeat, you will still be able to become a concubine, but in the future, even if you want to become a concubine, you won't have any plans at all. I Zhou Jie don't dare to say that I am an absolute genius, but in the entire Blue Blaze planet, how many people are like me? A 16-year-old first-rank samurai. Xianxia, I know that you are very regretful right now, so stop putting on an act, kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake. There is still a place for you in my concubine. A second ago, Xianxia was suppressing Zhou Jie, and in the next second, Zhou Jie rose up and slapped Xianxia's face. Xianxia tightly clenched her fists. Why did this bastard rise up? He is a trash. A complete and utter trash. Right at this moment, a family's airship arrived in the sky, and under a blue light, a slightly plump man appeared on the airship. Father. Xianxia shouted out in grievance. Slap. Xihua gave his daughter a backhand slap on her face. How dare he secretly come to break off the engagement? If it wasn't for someone coming to report, he would have missed out on a genius son-in-law, a 16-year-old samurai. In the future he would be a marquis. Everyone was shocked. This reversal came one after another, and the head of the Shi family gave his daughter a big slap when he got off the airship. Chapter 452. Xianxia covered her cheek, her eyes filled with shock. Her father actually hit her in front of so many people. Although you didn't say anything when I came here to break off the engagement, you must have known about it and acquiesced to it. How dare he hit me? He felt wronged. Xianxia felt extremely wronged. Xihua walked toward Zhou Yutong and unexpectedly held his hand, saying apologetically, "Old Zhou, I've really troubled you. This unfilial daughter of mine actually did such a thing behind my back. I'm sorry for staying here." Everyone scolded him for being shameless. He came just because he saw someone else rise up. If Zhou Jia hadn't risen, he wouldn't have come. Zhou Yutong didn't want to make a big deal out of this. After all, Xihua's cousin was in the imperial capital, and he was even an official. He couldn't afford to offend him. Since the other party had given him face, then forget it. "Old Shi, look at what you're saying, it's all a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." Zhou Yutong revealed out a smile that he hadn't seen for a long time. Forcing the Shi family to lower their head, this Shi family's influence in Long and City is second to none. In the past, she had been happy that her son could climb up the ladder with the Shi family. But now, it seemed like the Shi family wanted to climb up the ladder with her son. Fei Bai whispered, "How shameless, too shameless. For the sake of benefits they can do anything." Dong Huangli had a very puzzled look on her face. At her age she still needs to digest what she just said. "This is a marriage alliance," Ziju Qingyi said indifferently. Even he could not escape the shackles of fate. Fei Bai comforted her, "You will find a man who will treat you well in the future." Dong Huangli immediately covered her face with her hand. "Pushing the girl that he likes away, I have never seen such a thing before." Ziju Qingyi said indifferently, "That's for sure. I'm definitely better than you." Fei Bai laughed dryly. Xihua smiled at Zhou Jia and said, "Jia Sahan is too mischievous. Uncle has already taught her a lesson for you. Don't be angry, we're family." "Whose family with her?" Zhou Jia shouted coldly. Xihua's face stiffened. This boy was humiliated and he definitely didn't feel good. "She just insulted the Zhou family. Uncle Shi, what should we do?" Zhou Jia questioned. Why didn't he show up just now when he knew that he was a super potential stock? Did he take him for a fool? Xihua hardened his heart. This Zhou Jia would definitely have extraordinary achievements in the future. He had to pull him along. "Sahan, come here." Xihua shouted angrily. Sihan covered her face and slowly walked over. "Apologize to Ji." Sihan widened her eyes. "Father, how can I apologize?" "Not only do you have to apologize, you have to kneel down and apologize to me. Who told you to break off the engagement? Your wings have hardened." Xihua roared. Because right now, his ego was inflated to the point that he almost couldn't recognize himself anymore. Right at this moment, Fei Bai stood out. "Zhou Jia. I was the one who brought her in." Zhou Jia sneered. "Fei Bai, who do you think you are? What rights do you have to bring a person in? Letting a dog like you in is already a great honor." Fei Bai was quite angered. A vile person gaining power. A vile person gaining power. Then what about me? Zish Qingyi stood out and said. Right now, Zhou Jia is no longer the trash that he was in the daytime. He is currently a rank 1 martial warrior. I can't afford to offend him and I can't afford to offend him. Zish Qingyi, you better properly look after the person that you brought over in the future. Don't bring any random cat or dog into our Zhou family. Do you think that my Zhou family's food is something that just anyone can eat? Zhou Jia's words dealt a blow to Dong Huangli. Feeling wronged, Dong Huangli retorted, Ali is not some random cat or dog. Ali has a daddy and mommy. Seeing that Dong Huangli's eyes had already turned red, Zish Qingyi said coldly, Zhou Jia, don't think that just because you became a martial warrior, you can look down on everyone here. Ali is still a child. What are you shouting for? Zhou Jia's expression turned cold. If it was 10 minutes ago I would be able to accept what you said, but right now, no. Zish Qingyi, I can see that you are also from the royal family's faction. Don't be so shameless. Bring along this brat and scram. Zhou Jia shouted out with his hands behind his back. You're tuning in to this Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.